Odin is the chief god of the Aesir, ruler of heaven and earth, and the god of war, wisdom and poetry. Along with his brothers Vili and Ve, he killed the frost giant Ymir and used his body to create all the kingdoms of the world, as well as the sea and the sky. The brothers also created the first humans, Ask and Embla. Odin was the supreme chief of the Aesir, a society of warrior gods, and although other gods were younger, prettier, and even essentially stronger, Odin's powers and wisdom were most important. In the war, Odin decided the fate of all warriors. He was also called Father of All. The figure of Odin is located at the center of a complex mythological genealogy. His grandfather Buri was a primordial being formed from a block of ice licked by the primordial cow Audhumia at the beginning of time. Odin's wife was Freyja, and together they were considered the parents of the Aesir gods. Odin had many sons, such as Thor, Balder, Hod, Hermod, Heimdall, Vidar and Vali. Through his son Sigi, Odin was the ancestor of the Volsung dynasty of heroic legend. On Odin's side, Freyja was the mother of the beautiful god Balder, but the mother of Odin's firstborn, Thor, was Jorth, the Earth Mother. Jorth was also the mother of Odin's daughters, the Valkyries. Odin's alternative name, Allfather, suggests an ancient pairing of a sky god with an earth goddess, an idea supported by stories of such a union with Jorth. The giantess Rind, or Rinda, was the mother of Vali, and the giantess Grid was the mother of Vidar. Odin was also called the Raven God. He had a throne, in a watchtower in the celestial kingdom of Asgard, from which he could see everything that would happen in the 9 worlds of the universe, and nothing escaped his gaze. Odin sat on this high throne with 2 ravens, Thought and Memory, perched on his shoulders. He sent these birds to travel the world every day, and they returned to whisper in his ear everything they had seen. Odin also traveled around the world assuming other forms, such as that of a bird, a snake, a fish or another beast, and he could move, like a spirit, while his body slept. Physically, Odin was depicted as an older but still handsome man, who rode into battle wearing a golden helmet and chain mail. But he was often depicted, especially when he traveled through the human world, as a gray-bearded man with only one eye, who wore a wide-brimmed hat and carried a cane. His face could change with the viewer. He seemed so noble among his friends who were happy to see him, but to his enemies they appeared fearsome and terrible. He possessed a magical spear, Gungnir, which, once launched, did not stop until it reached its target. He possessed a magical golden ring called Draupnir, forged by the master craftsmen, the dwarves Brock and Sindri. In his role as god of war, Odin was also a god of the dead, and he used his servants, the Valkyries, to recognize the souls of the bravest warriors when they died on the battlefield and take them to Valhalla, their banquet hall in Asgard. Here these souls would enjoy an endless abundance of food, drink and revelry, and would practice their fighting skills until the time of Ragnarok, the battle at the end of the world, when they would fight with Odin as leader against all the forces of evil. Odin presided over the banquets in Valhalla, but he himself did not eat. Wine was both food and drink for him. He gave his meat to his 2 wolves, Jerry and Freki. Odin did not stop inciting fights to get more heroes for Valhalla. He always took sides in a conflict, and was capable of breaking oaths to get what he wanted. In war he could paralyze his enemies with fear or confuse their senses. He was the god of the wild hunt, and when the stormy skies of Scandinavia seemed to vibrate with the sound of furiously galloping hooves, it was believed that it was Odin who awakened in the people a passion for blood. Odin was consulted for advice and help in both peace and war. He had become omniscient, meaning that he knows all things real and possible. By drinking from the sacred fountain of wisdom, though well guarded by Mimir, that was located under one of the roots of the great world tree, Yggdrasil. Mimir agreed to let Odin drink just once from these waters, but he had to leave one of his eyes there as a pledge. From then on, although Odin only had one eye, he saw more clearly than anyone else. He had an intuitive knowledge of the past and could foresee the future. Another source of Odin's wisdom was the great trial he undertook by hanging himself from Yggdrasil, the cosmic tree that connected and sustained all the kingdoms of the world. He almost died in this test. After 9 days and nights hanging, pierced by a spear in a wound he made himself, according to the poetic Edda, he consecrated himself, discovered the secret of the sacred runes, and became the master of magical spells and wisdom. Hidden. Odin was rejuvenated thanks to his voluntary sacrifice. The Terrible was another of Odin's names. As he hung from the cosmic tree, he became known as the Lord of the Gallows, a powerful magician who could make hanged people speak and sent his ravens to communicate with them. He sometimes hanged people in a ritual worship for this aspect of the god. By his sacrifice and renewal through runic signs, Odin was also a god of the magical power of words. Seers and magicians sought his help to create runic inscriptions that provided divine protection. His connection to skeletal poetry was based on the theft of a magical mead that granted wisdom and the art of poetry to whoever drank it. I hope you liked the video. If so, give me a like, subscribe, and don't forget to activate the notification bell so that YouTube notifies you every time I upload a video.